Hello, welcome to SNGTALKS, a series by the Subnational Governance Program that works on public financial management, fiscal space, planning and governance, innovation and action research. This series will bring in experts from different fields to talk about issues and solutions that would lead to better systems for better services. The topic today is innovation. Innovation is a buzzword. Everybody uses it. It's frequently used in a lot of places, in a lot of contexts. But what exactly does innovation entail? How can innovation help us find solutions to the problems that we face? To discuss this, we have with us Mr. Usman Khan, a policy and economic expert and the lead for the SNG Innovation Challenge Fund and Action Research. Thank you, Usman, for joining us today.
It's a pleasure being here.
So we talk so much about innovation, but what exactly is innovation? How do you define innovation?
Well, you see, innovation means different things to different people in different contexts. So when we're talking about technology, innovation usually means people working in technology, working on different codes, they're trying to solve different problems. We work in the development space, so for us, innovation means something else. But in essence, what we're trying to do when we're trying to innovate is trying to always find better solutions to problems that are complex. So we know a problem and we don't know a solution, or there's a standard solution that doesn't really work. For example, when you talk about healthcare services, at basic units, at basic healthcare units, the government tries to deliver those services, but you can use technology to innovate to provide those services in a better manner. So in effect, what we're actually looking at, or how we define innovation, is trying to always improve and move towards better solutions. So that's what we think about innovation.
Why is innovation important and relevant for public sector reforms?
So you see, when I talk about public sector reform, it's not a new area, right? So people there are loads of responses and loads of sort of development work that has happened over time. People have reformed the way governments operate, the way services are delivered, the way government is held accountable, the way government opens up to people in terms of responding. But the state of this development nature keeps on changing. It's a dynamic world, right? So the problems keep on changing, the problems keep on becoming complex. For example, if you look at Punjab, now Punjab is a sub-national government because it's a province of a federation. However, the size of Punjab is bigger than many of the national economies. So some of the questions that Punjab's economy faces is very different to what a province like KP or Balochistan faces, simply because of our size. So Punjab has invested in power plants, Punjab has invested in mass transit, Punjab has invested in bigger mega projects over the years. So it sort of asks for different questions. When it asks for different questions, it raises complex problems. And that's where innovation actually becomes more important. So in development sphere now, innovation is important because we're continuously trying to look for better solutions. Across the world, resources are scarce. Governments need to manage their scarce fiscal resources in terms of having the maximum multiplier in terms of delivery of services. And with the excessive use of technology now, there are new ways in which how these services could be delivered in a more cost-effective manner. So where we need to understand that initially innovation may be costly because it's like investing in research and development. But a successful innovation is one which then allows you to deliver the same sort of service maybe at a lower cost, or allow you to deliver a better service at the same cost. So that's why in terms of reform space, innovation is always trying to improve how reforms matter and how they actually contribute towards improving the lives of citizens.
SNG has its own Innovation Challenge Fund. What is it about? What does it work on?
So basically, I've been associated with the innovation in SNG for almost 7 years now. So my first experience of launching an innovation fund started in 2013, where the first phase of SNG1 program was launched. We tried to do some experimentation in health and education, and it was rated one of the best innovation funds that DFID has funded to date, and we did a significant policy work on it. However, there were certain learnings as well. So when you're trying to innovate, there has to be a continuous learning that actually informs that innovation. So when we're trying to innovate, we need to reflect how we are also innovating ourselves. So how we've actually moved in SNG2 is that we've taken all the learnings that we had from SNG1 and actually tried to modify the process and innovate our own selves to actually come up with better solutions. So one of the things, or one of the sort of critical lessons that we had from SNG1 was that SNG program focuses on core reform areas, which is planning, governance, public financial management, and enhancing fiscal space, which are the core issues that the government face. However, our challenge fund was focusing on health and education. Now, yes, there was an element of planning and fiscal space involved, because if you're able to deliver those services in a more cost-effective manner, or effectively, that means you're planning better, you're saving some resources. But that causal relationship was at a distance. So this time what we've done is we've actually used our challenge fund to actually support our core themes of subnational governance program, which is planning, governance, public financial management, and fiscal space. So our focus areas of innovation is how we can innovate in governance, how we can innovate in public financial management, how we can innovate, help government increase their fiscal space. For example, we are now working with Excise and Taxation Department to actually automate and actually innovate in property tax collection. Punjab province has rapidly urbanized over the last decade. However, the property tax coverage is significantly less as compared to the total potential. So we're trying to use GIS technology, Apple Maps, and other technology areas where we can actually increase that coverage area, so that without increasing the tax rate, the government is able to actually enhance taxation. Similarly, in public financial management, we are looking at e-procurement solutions. We are looking at how budgets can be executed more effectively, how technology can play a role, how business process reform or innovation in the business process of the government can actually bring about better reform. So what we're trying to do in SNG2 innovation now is trying to support our core areas of reform, which is more challenging, because when we talk about innovation in delivering health and education, a lot of people come up with a lot of good ideas. There's a large number of NGOs and CSOs which work in this particular area. But the topic and understanding of public financial management and taxation is a very specialized field. So it's challenging for us, but we've actually launched our first round, and we've had a good response of applications in both provinces of Punjab and KP. And we are actually in the process of now shortlisting those ideas and testing out those pilots. And one last thing which I want to highlight also as part of our process that we want to do in SNG is not do a random pilot and then leave it where it finishes. Our main idea of innovation is that we want to scale that up. And for that reason, we partner very closely with the government. The government actually evaluates with us the ideas that we're trying to implement and pilot and innovate, so that once we exit, the government actually takes control and scale them up, because that's where the multiplier effect comes. So that's our philosophy of innovation at SNG.
COVID-19 has exposed the vulnerabilities of systems all over the world. How do you think innovation can help?
It's good you asked this question, because even in our latest round, we actually introduced one of the concepts on how to innovatively manage disaster risk financing and disaster planning. So when we were working with the Punjab government to actually develop a response towards COVID, how to fight it back, one of the critical areas was the data. For example, the data on daily wages was not available. There's no way the government could actually reach out to the real beneficiary that would be supported, who was a person who was a direct affectee as a result of the closure and the lockdowns that were placed by the government. So one way innovation can actually help in what we're trying to do is to actually set up this online feedback mechanism where we can actually move towards a self-worker registration scheme, where the government can actually get to the ground level stakeholders and try to extract the ground level information which is more factual, and also sort of explore ideas of how government can actually do that. Another way where innovation is going to be very important, and that's what we're considering for our second round, is governance. Now you see there are a lot of government space offices where there's a lot of inflow of public, because they come in either for getting some certifications or for some services. So there's a lot of engaged human-to-human contact, and those offices are really busy. Now in a case like COVID, because of the high contagious nature of the disease, these offices could form the hot centers for disease spread. So governance and innovation can actually see how these services will be delivered to those citizens by reducing the contact. So we would be actually looking at some of specific innovative solutions which can help us create that safe distance between the public and the government. So it's not necessarily social distance, it's about safe distance.
Thank you so much for joining us, and it was a really insightful discussion into innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That would help.